Hello, welcome to Lesson Gems. Today we're going to talk about Lesson 207. This is a life prep lesson, and it's Family History and Temple Service. Let's first take a look at the lesson purpose. It says here this lesson can help students find the names of their deceased ancestors and prepare to perform ordinances for them in the Lord's temples. Actually, I'm going to modify this lesson purpose just a little bit, because I feel like this lesson is more geared towards helping students develop a desire to find the names of their deceased ancestors. We don't spend a lot of time helping them to actually find ancestors because we don't expect all of our teachers to be family history consultants, and all of our students are going to be coming to class with such a different level of understanding of how to use the Family Tree app or how to actually do family history research. Instead, we're going to help them understand the history behind temple baptisms. We're going to talk about the blessings of doing temple and family history service, and then also give them a couple of ideas of how they can use that Family Tree app that will be really interesting, things that they can do right now without having any knowledge of how to do research. So let's jump in. This lesson starts with sharing ways that some youth have been impacted by doing temple and family history work. I think it'd be a great idea to look right here. If any of your students have had personal experiences, you could invite them to share the blessings they have witnessed. If you go to the Gospel Library app and go down here to Books and Lessons, Teaching and Learning, and then the first icon, Teaching in the Savior's Way, scroll down to where it says Invite Diligent Learning. One of the skills that is mentioned in this guide is the Savior encouraged others to share the truths they were learning. This is a great time to ask some of your students who you know have gone to the temple or had experiences doing temple baptisms. You could ask them ahead of time to come to class prepared to share what they've experienced and felt as they've gone to the temple. And having these personal examples from class members will be really meaningful to the other class members. And that could take the place of this opening activity. Another way that you could start this lesson is come down to the very end of the lesson in the additional resources. There's these great quotes that talk about the blessings of temple and family history work. If you look at this one by Del G. Renlund, at all of these bullet points of blessings of doing temple and family history work, it would be awesome to share these blessings with the class. Let me show you what I've done. I just put those in a PDF document, and I left out temple and family history work here and here in the quote. And I just put this, and you could hand out this paper to each of your students and have them look through the bullet points and just summarize what some of those blessings are. Even like, okay, this one, we won't feel alone, or we will feel the love of the Lord. Have them identify blessings that they would like to claim in their life, and then say, what is it that can help you to claim these blessings, and have them guess what would fit in the blank. Hopefully, some of them will guess temple and family history work. But that's just one more way, a different way that you could start the lesson. And then you could even have, at that point, have some of the class members share if they have experienced any of those already in their life through going to the temple. I love this section that talks about the historical context and how excited the early saints were to learn about temple baptisms. And I would definitely review this with the class and then find out what kind of stood out to the students. But then also, how was the experience of the early saints different from what the students have experienced when they go to the temple? And hopefully here you can see some of the differences, that Emma was baptized for her father. That doesn't happen anymore. It was in the river. That doesn't happen anymore. These baptisms are always done in the temple. So call out some of those differences and find out why were they different back then than what we do now. And that will get you into these verses. And this is a really critical part of this lesson, where it's like, what can these verses teach us about him? That it teaches us that Jesus Christ is patient and fair because he gave them time to build the temple and have a specific font for doing temple baptisms. before they were held fully accountable for doing them in a specific way. And it might be really nice to ask our students where this particular principle could be meaningful for them in their lives with commandments that they're striving to keep. Understanding the nature of Jesus Christ, with him being patient and fair, is such a meaningful thing for our youth to understand that about him, especially if they tend towards perfectionism. That this is a really nice thing to point out. The rest of this lesson talks about this particular thing, the part you can play in the Lord's work of salvation. Now, I'm going to give a word of caution. There are a lot of resources here, different ideas of ways you could have the students participate in family history work during the class time. A lot of times when you're working with people that don't have understanding of how to do family history work, it can be really frustrating if they don't have one-on-one help. I mean, you could invite some of your ward temple and family history consultants to come to class. You could invite parents to come, and you could have a little like studio where the students and the adults have a chance to work together. Or you could just introduce them to just a couple of things. Like, I think that understanding Ordinances Ready is one of the most critical things that students need to know how to do. And the link is right there in your lesson to have this video about how to use Ordinances Ready. And if you wanted to have them enjoy something kind of fun about the Family Search Family Tree app, you could show a little video tutorial on how to add a photo to their memories. They could add a little story, and they could add audio to a photo. Those are things that they can use just with what they have in their camera roll right there already. And they don't have to do research. If they add it to their Family Search account, then they've preserved their own story for their children and grandchildren. So have them think about what they would like to have preserved, and taking a picture outside the temple the next time they go to do temple baptisms, and then they could record audio of what they felt, just how their testimony was strengthened by being in the temple. And that would be something that they could easily do. If you wanted to have just one simple task for them to do, I would recommend having them do that type of task. Again, I'll put some tutorials in the video description, but maybe just focus on Ordinances Ready and adding a photo to their memories. Now, don't feel like you have to be the professional, the expert on everything. Invite someone in to help you with that particular part of the little studio part where they have an experience in the Family Tree app, or share a YouTube video or something else, or you go through the video yourself and learn how to do it, so then you can talk your students through it. But just narrow it down to one skill, and that will be more manageable. Thanks for all you do. Have a great week.